The playground is the place where all the kids gather for recess. But have you noticed the patterns of the characters? All of them are the same age throughout the entire series. I will explain this to you. 3rd Street School was built after World War I. TJ was among the first students to attend. He was always proven to be a strong leader, running for 4th grade president in 1928, a year before the Great Depression began. However, the current principal at the time was making budget cuts on certain lunch items. Attempting to lead a revolt, TJ was hit by an ice cream truck during a student walkout in 1929. TJ's spirit still lives on through the playground, teaching kids how to stand up for their rights. Mikey soon transferred to the school after TJ's death, starting 1st grade in 1929 to 1930. Mikey was always hungry, demanding food. However, he was a kind and gentle person, causing no harm to the students around him. In 1931, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Feeling depressed, he ate an insane amount of chocolate bars to cope with his disease. He went into a diabetic coma in 1932 and died later that year of a heart attack at the age of 10. Mikey still walks in the playground, fat as ever and hungry as ever. Spinelli began attending in 1933, a school year after Mike's death. Always trying to act the tough one, Spinelli would converse with the ghosts of TJ and Mikey and share with them her experiences. Spinelli died in a fight in 1936 during her 2nd repeat of the 4th grade year. She now hangs out with the rest of the gang, acting as the group's bodyguard. Randall started at 3rd Street School in 1944. Dreaming of being a reporter, he often worked as the muckraker of the school principal. Despised by the gang, especially Spinelli, Randall one day caught by a random bystander beating up a 2nd grader and told the principal, a different one than the one from 1928. Furious, the bystander killed Randall with a gun in his house a few nights later. He was struck in the head and killed instantly. Randall is still known as 3rd Street's best snitch. Gus began school in 1951. He was often quiet and kept to himself. He conversed with TJ, Spinelli, and Mikey a lot, as the ghosts were his only friends. He was often the target of the playground bullies. One fateful night in 1953, Gus was walking home from school, in tears and covered in dirt and blood. He was beaten up by the neighborhood bullies the previous day, and his parents had forgotten to pick him up. Gus collapsed on the sidewalk in front of his house as he was turning back towards the door. He died on New Year's Day, 1954. Gus is viewed as the nerdy kid of the group, often keeping to himself and avoiding dirt and filth. When the Tylers began school in 1958, the Ashleys were already in school, living the dream as a top-notch 4th grader. Both groups were often despised by the rest of the kids on the playground. One night, while the girls were having a sleepover, and the boys were having a gentleman's sleepover, both coexisting that night, a serial killer broke into Armsbuster Mansion and murdered the Armbusters, Quinlan children, Tamasia children, and the Bowlett children. The killer was captured by police in early 1959. The Ashleys and the Tylers still roamed the playground, acting like the big people on campus. Gretchen came to 3rd Street in 1962. She was shown as the intelligent one of the group, winning the science award every year until Becky Benson stole her project in 1965. Gretchen went home that day on a mad rampage. In her anger, she committed suicide by gunshot to the head. She's still more intelligent than most of the ghosts in the group, and is even willing to tutor her friends when the time calls for it. Diggers Sam and Dave attended 3rd Street School a while after Gretchen's death. Beginning in 1968, both boys were always interested in digging. In the summer of 1971, They were caved in while exploring an old coal mine. They never got out and died 2 weeks after being trapped. They dig near the school playground, afraid that digging outside school grounds will cause them to lose their lives in the afterlife. Vince, who was the last to join the gang, attended the school in 1978, just as the disco 70s were coming to a close. Vince worked on his basketball career, often dreaming of making the NBA, inspired by famous NBA stars of that time. One day in 1982, he tripped and broke his leg and was told he would never be able to play basketball again. Devastated by this, Vince attempted to take his own life in 1983. As a result, he was sent to an insane asylum, where he died in 1988. Vince plays a wide variety of sports in the afterlife, as the protagonist gang of ghosts was finally completed upon Vince's death. King Bob is known as the King of the Playground. After winning class president of 4th grade in 1991, King Bob was always a fair ruler. After going crazy with power, the 4th grade body let a coup. King Bob was not allowed to run for president during the 1992 to 1993 school year. As a result, he murdered the entire school body in one night by breaking into their houses and stabbing them to death. He was sent to juvenile detention in fall 1995 and stayed there until he was killed by another prisoner in 2001 at the 5th Street Corrections Facility at the age of 20. Due to the tragedies caused by the 3rd Street School playground, the school was shut down and deserted in the summer of 2002. The last class of 5th graders leaving in 2001 on the 74th anniversary of TJ's death. However, this event did not affect the school playground, nor its current residents. The ghosts of the fallen children still frolic and play on the playground of the 3rd Street School as if it never shut down.